We need one another when we mourn and want comfort. We need one another when we are in trouble and are afraid. We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and need to be recalled to our best selves again. We need one another when we strive to accomplish some great purpose and realize we cannot do it alone. We need one another in the hour of success when we look for someone to share triumphs. We need one another in the hour of defeat when in encouragement we try to endure and stand again. We need one another when we come to die and seek gentle hands to prepare us for the journey. All our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the entire congregation, I welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Shenandoah Valley. I am Lori Crockett, your worship associate for today. We wish to acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of the Shawnee and the Manahoic tribes who lived in this area prior to the arrival of European settlers who then took the land for their own. We come together each Sunday morning as a community of seekers, seekers of what is important in our lives, seekers of understanding in the face of uncertainty and loss, seekers of forgiveness for our shortcomings, seekers of gratitude for the unexpected gifts we receive from all around us. We gather in awe of the beauty of nature and the mysteries of the universe. But most importantly, we come together as seekers of a community of love and empowerment, celebrating our search for truth and meaning in our daily lives. Nathan Selove is our guest speaker for today, and I will first ask him to please come and light the chalice for us. Let us all say together, here and online, the words for lighting our chalice. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, to share. And I invite you to join with us as we say our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and freedom, and to help our neighbor. To these ends, we covenant one with another.
I'd like to introduce who our guest speaker is going to be for today. Her name is Mom Selove, but you can call her Shelley. She is a licensed psychotherapist in private practice for over 30 years, and she specializes in relationships, autism, and sexuality, which made me super cool in high school. She's been a part of this congregation for 24 years. My father and her have also taught in the senior RE program, and they've also been facilitators for the Our Whole Lives program. Not just facilitators, but they have taught and trained other facilitators for about 10 years at this point. She is an absolutely remarkable woman. I like to think that she did a good job raising her children, because I think that we ended up pretty well. I mean, I did. I don't know about my brother. And today she's going to be talking about the absolute revolutionary joy that service dogs have brought to our lives and our family.
This is an excerpt from Follow Me by John Denver. You see, I'd like to share my life with you and show you things I've seen, places where I'm going to, and places that I've been. To have you there beside me, to never be alone. And all the time you're with me, we will be at home. Follow me where I go, what I do, and who I know. Make it part of you to be a part of me. Follow me up and down all the way. Take my hand and I will follow you.
And now for our time for people of all ages. I'm going to talk a little bit about service dog etiquette, and I'm going to show you some tricks that this service dog can do. Because we're going to be talking about a lot of the more emotional side of service dogs and some of the practical sides of service dogs, but they can also be fun. So, first off, one of the things to recognize about service dogs is that they have a job to do. So when you see them in public, for the most part, you want to try to ignore them. You want to, pretend that they're not there. Let them focus on their partner. Now, during the course of,
I'm sorry, I want to switch you on. I apologize.
All right. Can you hear me better? Perfect. Sorry about that. All right. So during the training process of service dogs, they're usually given what's called clicker training. This right here is a clicker, and this indicates to her that she has just done something that I want her to do. And she knows that as soon as she hears this, that means she gets a treat. So let's start with something nice and simple. Blake, sit. Good girl. Now, not only does she know verbal cues, so out loud, she also knows hand signals. Blake. Oh, there. Good girl. Blake down. Good girl. Blake stand. Good girl. And the hand signal. Good girl. Good girl. You always want to make sure that you use positive reinforcement with service dogs, because that helps strengthen the bond between them. Blake, heel. I was going to do that. I usually do the leash. That's usually a surprise, but she gave that away. Blake, heel. Good dog. All right, service dogs usually stay right by your side as you walk, and they know to move with you as you change directions. And of course, some of them know tricks beyond what they need to, such as leash. Leash. Good girl. And of course, I had to teach her how to do the classic dog trick. Hi, how are you? And the final thing that I taught her to do, because I got her when I was still in graduate school, so I would go to parties sometimes and not tell my parents. So you had to have a dog that could dance, right? Wait, let's dance. Good girl. And that's another one right there. She knows that she's not supposed to eat treats off the floor, so notice she did not go for it. She waited for me to get her. All right, good job, Blake. High five.
Thank you, Nathan. At this time, we will sing the children out. Number 413 in our book. Go now in peace.
It's 2 a.m. and our little boy is having another night terror. Nathan is screaming horribly. He's on his feet. He's jumping around trying to get away. He is acting like he's being attacked or tortured. I cannot reach him. I'm trying to reach him. He does not know who I am or that he's safe with me. This has happened every night for weeks now. This should have stopped for him years ago. Most children have outgrown night terrors by this age. There seems to be nothing we can do to help him, nothing his medical providers can do. Then, finally, Help comes unexpectedly from our Humane Society dog, Max. Uninvited, he climbs into bed with our boy, and for the first time in weeks, all in the house sleep peacefully. After this, we do all we can to ensure that he has a canine companion to sleep with most every night. A short time later, my son's psychotherapist suggests the cutting-edge approach of getting him an autism service dog. This suggestion is in response to his suicidal ideation due to social isolation and bullying at school. How can this be happening to my gregarious, spirited little boy? With determination and conviction, we throw ourselves into applying for an autism service dog. Individuals with disabilities and our families do not, I repeat, do not want others to pity us or feel sorry for us. We often appreciate some support, emotional and otherwise, understanding as much as is realistically possible, and the protections, services, and policies that allow us to pursue treatment and accommodation modalities that are best for our individual circumstances. The main purpose of my sharing today is to help others gain some real understanding and help us all have healthier encounters with disabled people with service dogs. I also hope this presentation helps individuals who might consider pursuing this kind of life-changing help. Service dogs are trained to do specific tasks to help people with challenges associated with disabling conditions. Since disabled people need such help in public places like schools, restaurants, and transportation, these dogs are also trained to behave appropriately in public settings. The Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, protects the rights of individuals accompanied by service dogs to access public venues. By the way, churches, clubs, and even private residences are not considered places of public access and therefore are not required to allow service dogs. Individuals with service dogs need to reach out to any such venues before visiting for them for the first time and get permission or be denied permission. Legally, in a public setting, a business owner or employee can ask a person with a service dog 2 questions. 1, is the dog a disability service dog? And 2, what is or are the specific task or tasks that the dog does for the person with the disability? They cannot ask about the person's disability or any other personal information. Legally, they cannot even ask for a demonstration, even though Nathan just gave one, of specifically trained tasks. They're also not supposed to ask for certification papers, but they often do. After we did some research, we picked Susquehanna Service Dogs, or SSD for short, in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Partly because they are certified through Assistance Dogs International, we highly recommend only considering ADI certified agencies for anyone wanting a service dog. Service dogs are usually highly intelligent, often specifically bred from birth for about 2 years, and also rigorously vetted before they are placed. Not all dogs raised in a service dog program make it through the entire process. The trainers make several assessments along the way. As a result, SSD also places facility dogs, in-home service dogs, skilled companion dogs, and even some highly trained explosive detective canines. These placements are based on expert assessments of the strengths and character of each dog. All dogs that I listed, those dogs that I just listed, do important jobs, but they do not have public access rights, though like a service dog or assistant dog. By the way, emotional support dogs are completely different, especially legally. Though individuals may get a note from their physician, the rights only extend to housing through the Fair Housing Act. Emotional support dogs are not covered under the ADA and do not have public access rights. In a reputable service dog agency, the application process can last 2 to 4 years or more. As with actual dogs, human applicants are also vetted. The application process includes several meetings with the agency at their facility and usually a home visit. It includes collection of medical and mental health documentation of the disabling conditions for which the dog will be trained to help, as well as any health issues, limitations, and needs. Our son's response to being partnered with Susquehanna service dog Sylvia is miraculous. His psychologist tells us that he has met all the treatment goals that she had for him for the next several years in a matter of months, one of which has been met in the intensive partner training even before he brings Sylvia home. There have been so many tears of gratitude for that wonderful, spirited, beautiful dog. In a reputable service dog agency, they work hard to make sure that the service dog partnership is going to be successful for both the human and the dog. At SSD, partners attend 2.5 weeks of intensive training, most of which is at Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. During his training, with Sylvia's help, 11-year-old Nathan learns that his emotions and reactions have a significant effect on others. This is monumental. Fast forward a couple of years. Our dog Max has died. With this loss, Raymond realizes that Max had become his in-home service dog. Raymond, Nathan's dad, by the way, applies and is partnered with his own service dog, SSD Coriander. Since the impact of Raymond's service dog placement is not as obvious as with Nathan, I ask Raymond, how is it going? Raymond tells me that during the last few months that he has been partnered with Corey, he has felt less stressed at work than in his entire career. I am stunned and so grateful. Raymond is an anatomy and physiology professor at college. Today, he tells me that SSD Corey would not settle into her downstay at lab. Raymond finally excused himself from the class, thinking that she needed to go outside. As he was walking down the hall, he began to stagger. He tells me that she dragged him into his office where he keeps his diabetic supplies. Apparently, she is a diabetic alert dog also. We are learning that we really need to trust these service dogs. So grateful. This brings me to an important topic related to service dogs. Much of what they do for their partners is invisible, whether the partner's disability is visible or not. When a service dog is working, distractions, including well-intentioned greetings from others, can be problematic or even life-threatening in some cases for the human partner. Service dogs are trained to be inconspicuous in public settings as a part of their etiquette. When approaching a person with a service dog, please know that human partners love it when people speak directly to them and not to the service dog. Many service dog teams are trained to do controlled greetings. And you can ask the human if a greeting with their dog is possible. But please be prepared for and respectful if you are told, "Not this time, please." Related to the topic of invisible disabilities, and this is for Nathan, please don't ask a service dog handler if the dog is in training. I expect that you also already know that if you see a service dog that is unattended in a public place, it would be prudent to find their partner. Many service dogs are trained to go get help. The cue is often, "Show me." As an introvert, it is hard for me sometimes playing interference for my husband and my son and their service dogs in public. People love dogs. We love dogs, so we get it. It's hard for the public to understand that an assistance dog is supposed to focus on and work in service of their disabled partner, not others. In response to that, I decide that I'm going to pursue a therapy dog facility dog to work with my clients in my private practice, my private counseling practice. I meet Abby. She is amazing and perfect for the work. We train as a therapy dog team at Winchester Medical Center Animal Assisted Therapy Program, which involves commitment for weekly training at the hospital and to visit patients in the hospital for the rest of Abby's working life. I agree to these terms, which is absolutely ludicrous. I literally have panic attacks just entering the parking lot of a hospital. My life with Abby is wonderful at home, at work, and even as a volunteer at the hospital. I am awed to be a witness to so many healing and transformative moments. The role of a therapy or facility dog is to work in service of others. So this means that when I am out and about and others wish to interact with Abby, I usually say, absolutely. It's not her job to focus on me. Time marches on. Sylvia helps Nathan through middle school, high school, college, graduate school, and getting married. Sylvia, Coriander, and Abby get older much too fast. Nathan goes through the experience of partnering with his successor dog, Blake, and loses precious Sylvia. We are grateful that she got to be fully retired in time and to know that Nathan is well cared for by SSD Blake. One of the hardest things that a person with a service dog goes through is to retire their dog when it's clear that it's time. Even more devastating is when they pass away. Losing a pet is rough. Losing a best friend who you've been with 24/7 for the last 10 to 13 years is indescribable. The pandemic hits. I quip. I now have a lot of material for my PTSD and ADHD-related panic disorder, as do comedians. As a mental health clinician, I'm watching myself slip further and further towards agoraphobia with regard to public settings. SSD Coriander and Raymond retired together in 2020. He will tell you definitely that she got him through those last 10 years of work. He applies for and is partnered with successor dog Verna in time for Corey to also know that her partner will be well cared for in her retirement and as she approaches end of life. Raymond is in training for his successor dog Verna. I have traveled with Raymond for this intensive training and away from Abby. After all these years and all that I have witnessed, it is funny that I am surprised to realize that Abby has been my in-home service dog, in addition to administering to others. I am a mess without her while I'm away. But Abby is not a service dog, and I am limited to where I can take her. After focusing so much time over the years on taking care of others, I decide it's time to take care of myself. I put my service dog application in as soon as I get home. Service dogs or assistance dogs are trained to work with partners with many disabling conditions. There are autism service dogs, psychiatric service dogs, dogs that help with people with balance and mobility, hearing dogs, and seeing eye dogs, just to name a few. There are dogs that detect seizures and epilepsy, or low blood sugar in diabetes, or even syncope or fainting in conditions like POTS, though those are harder to come by because you can't really train that. Some dogs are just natural, like Coriander was for Raymond. As a health provider, do I recommend service dogs for all of my clients? I do not. Applying for and being partnered with a service dog is a life-changing experience that requires a lot of commitment. Commitment to the relationship, to ongoing training, to the care of the dog for their lifetime. With agency certified by ADI, service dog partners have to pass an annual public access test and provide documentation of ongoing veterinary health care. But if you have a disabling condition or conditions and you love dogs, you likely already know and have recognized how helpful they can be. But I can tell you from experience that having a dog specifically trained in tasks that treat or help you manage your disability is absolutely life-changing. But if you don't really like dogs at all, then I would not recommend a service dog for you. The reputable agencies work hard to find the best match for an applicant with regard to things like temperament or energy level. You probably also have to be okay with doggy breath and dog hair everywhere. I am partnered with SSD Bento in February of 23. She is with me every step of the way when I lose my beloved Abby. When I am about to have a panic attack, her performance of her specifically trained tasks for me usually stops them before they start. I attend doctor's appointments with her by my side, and though I still don't love medical facilities, my office or hospital visits are far more tolerable, and I am so incredibly grateful for this partnership. I am especially grateful that Bento has public access rights protected through the ADA. Our relationship is strong and still developing, as is our ongoing training, which mainly involves her training me. Speaking of hospital visits, in November, I got to meet my grandbaby, Sylvia, who was named after that spirited, beautiful, life-changing service dog who started it all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shelley. At this time, the purpose of this church is to encourage all who gather to grow more generous in spirit and action. We will now gratefully receive an offering to sustain this self-supporting church and its ministries within and beyond our walls. If you happen to be watching online, we hope you will consider making an offering through our webpage, uushenandoah.org. If you are visiting, please feel free to let the basket pass. You are our guest today. Now, as Nathan comes forward to extinguish the chalice, let us all say together the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of our community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again.
Let us return to ourselves and become wholly ourselves. Let us be aware of the source of being, common to all of us and to all living things, evoking the presence of the great compassion. Let us fill our hearts with our own compassion towards ourselves and towards all living beings. Let us pray that we ourselves cease to be the cause of suffering to each other. With humility and awareness of the existence of life and of the suffering that are going on around us, let us practice the establishment of peace in our hearts and on earth.
Thank you. Go now in peace.